There are occasions in contemporary times when quietness transforms into its own form of communication. And in the French capital, during a cool autumn morning, Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex, made her statement dressed in ivory. The metropolis that historically celebrated fashion icons found itself momentarily still as the entrance to the prestigious hotel swung open, revealing her presence composed, radiant, unaffected by surrounding chatter. The Balenciaga Spring-Summer collection presentation had guaranteed a fresh artistic beginning, but nobody anticipated that a single woman's understated arrival would overshadow 7 days of elaborate displays. Pierpaolo Piccioli's entirely ivory creation, precisely tailored yet flowing, carefully constructed while maintaining freedom, appeared crafted for transformation. Following numerous years of being simplified into sensational stories, Meghan had selected simplicity as her personal statement. No ceremonial crown, no ceremonial platform, simply herself. And remarkably, that proved sufficient to propel newsrooms into heightened activity. Almost immediately, her images travelled globally. French Vogue dubbed her the surprising inspiration of the collection. Italian publications praised her as someone reclaiming her own story through refined style. Yet beyond the English Channel, the expected response emerged. While fashion critics discussed form and fabric, British publications gravitated toward doubt. The Sunday Telegraph displayed "Meghan Makes a Mark" prominently on its cover, a curious selection alongside coverage of Middle Eastern affairs. The implication was clear. Even from considerable distance, her presence generates more readership than any heir apparent. It was revealing that while global media celebrated the creative partnership, portions of UK journalism shifted from fashion commentary to political analysis. They questioned, was this intentional? Was she communicating something to the royal household? Why the French capital instead of London? The response existed within their inquiry itself. Regardless of her actions, her very existence receives treatment as deliberate theatre. Her quietness interpreted as resistance, her happiness reframed as challenge. One could practically sense the newspaper chaos as editors mobilized. The Daily Mail, maintaining their characteristic tone of theatrical incredulity, published the title "Meghan Does Paris." Their coverage alternated between enthusiastic fashion observations and subtle implications. Meanwhile, the Telegraph released "Duchess of Sussex attends Balenciaga show," with descriptions including poised and commanding. They couldn't restrain themselves. Appreciation consistently seeps through even the densest layer of cynicism. However, the genuine narrative existed in juxtaposition. That identical day, Prince William was highlighting a conversation with Eugene Levy. Yet, while Meghan's Parisian appearance dominated front sections, William's sincere discussion barely received mention in secondary positions. The contrast carried almost lyrical quality. The institutional publicity apparatus, despite all its mechanisms and prestige, couldn't eclipse the woman they attempted to marginalize. Subsequently, British broadcasters examined her selection as though analyzing diplomatic strategy. One analyst remarked it was noteworthy that Meghan appeared comfortable attending fashion events in France, yet not visiting the UK. Noteworthy, a term British journalism employs when pretending ignorance of background, particularly when that background proves troubling and thoroughly recorded. During 2018, correspondence containing suspicious powder was delivered to Meghan, classified as a racially motivated hate crime by Scotland Yard. Two extremist adolescents received imprisonment after labelling Prince Harry a race traitor. In 2019, a broadcaster was dismissed for comparing Archie Harrison to a primate. In 2020, authorities detained someone possessing racist imagery of Archie alongside extremist materials. During July 2023, Christopher Gibbons and Tyrone Patton-Walsh received convictions for producing an extremist podcast that labelled Harry a race traitor and encouraged violence against Meghan, describing young Archie as an abomination. Therefore, when analysts mock that Meghan feels secure in Paris, yet not London, perhaps they should examine what sort of nation they've constructed, one where a woman of colour must select between public presence and personal security. In fashion, ivory frequently represents innocence, yet in Paris that morning it signified recovery. Meghan's entirely ivory ensemble conveyed, "Your narratives cannot diminish me." There existed defiance in her restraint, rebellion concealed within silk. Every photographic capture became recognition. Every prominent placement became evidence that her narrative remains beyond containment. The Sunday Telegraph didn't plan to honour her by positioning "Meghan makes her mark" beside international political coverage. Yet that's exactly their achievement. They verified that even absent the crown, she dominates discourse. Meanwhile, the identical publications that previously encouraged her withdrawal into private existence now protest that she continues commanding their covers. It resembles igniting flames, then objecting to the warmth. Throughout the Atlantic, American publications addressed her appearance with genuine interest. In Paris itself, hostility was absent, cynical commentary non-existent, only appreciation. A French writer observed, "The Duchess of Sussex moves with the tranquility of someone who has selected her liberation." That observation captured what Britain continues refusing to comprehend. Meghan's influence doesn't originate from titles or gemstones. It stems from selection, the transformative action of declining a structure founded on compliance. Back within the UK, the anticipated commotion followed. Discussion programmes questioned whether Meghan was attempting to overshadow the royals. One participant suggested she was deliberately reinserting herself into European significance, the identical significance the press insists she's forfeited immediately before dedicating another complete hour to her presence. The tabloids profess disdain, yet require her name for continuation. Meghan Does Paris wasn't merely a title. It represented a necessity for their digital engagement. Every piece criticising her sustains the very relevance they claim she shouldn't possess. It resembles observing someone protest congestion while simultaneously marketing access to the gridlock. Throughout everything, Meghan maintained silence. No social media updates, no public declarations, no manufactured responses, simply a quiet retreat into personal life following the presentation. And within that silence existed her brilliance. For years, she's received instructions to remain quiet, yet now her silence represents tactics, not surrender. Each appearance proves intentional, calculated, and profoundly meaningful. By attending Paris Fashion Week, not London, not New York, she reminded the globe that she belongs to no singular audience. She's not Britain's Duchess, she's a global figure. Let's acknowledge the measurable impact. Within one day, searches for Balenciaga's ivory blazers increased by over 300%. Meghan influences markets. That's why brands pursue her, not solely for fame, but legitimacy. She represents association with intention, environmental consciousness, diversity, contemporary womanhood. Meanwhile, the royal household continues struggling to engage with younger demographics. Their charitable initiatives appear calculated. Meghan's influence feels genuine. People invest in her principles, not merely her clothing. And that represents invaluable publicity, the variety that cannot be purchased through institutional resources. There's a generational reality developing here. Young audiences globally no longer desire monarchy. They desire substance. They respond to genuineness, representation, and feeling. All qualities Meghan embodies naturally. The royal household may possess crowns, yet Meghan possesses connection, and connection represents the contemporary measure of influence. From Montecito to Paris, she's constructed a different form of monarchy, one established in compassion and intention rather than birthright and structure. Her initiatives, from Archwell's humanitarian efforts to her lifestyle pursuits, demonstrate a perspective of leadership rooted in service, not ceremony. And if that's not the characterization of modern royalty, the definition remains elusive. Therefore, dear listeners, what did Paris demonstrate? That you cannot banish luminosity. You can only redirect it somewhere it can radiate more freely. That refinement speaks louder than jealousy. That a woman walking through a metropolis in ivory can expose an establishment's vulnerabilities. Meghan didn't merely attend a fashion presentation. She delivered a demonstration in transformation, evidence that when the world demands to define you, the greatest resistance is defining yourself. She arrived, she witnessed, she dazzled, and she departed, leaving the tabloids conversing among themselves. And perhaps somewhere in London, certain editors finally understood. Every occasion they publish her image, they remind the globe who the genuine protagonist of this royal narrative truly is. This is Sussex Squaddies, reminding you that history consistently favours those who navigate their journey with dignity. And today, that journey was illuminated in Parisian ivory.